Hello, everyone. Welcome to another EV show by Ludicrous Feed. I'm your host, Tom. Thanks for joining us tonight. And today is the 7th of February, 2024. My goodness, it's already February. The year has already started. What is going on? Anyway, good to see all of you on the live chat there. Thanks so much for joining us for another show. If you're watching us live, hello. Make sure you tell us where you're watching from. If you're watching us on replay, hello as well. Thank you so much. And if you're listening to us on audio podcast, welcome to the show. All right, well, let's say hello to our regular guests as always this beautiful Wednesday night. Hello to our friends Riz from Carloop and also Rahul Prasad as well. Gentlemen, it is so lovely to see you both on a Wednesday night. I'll start with Rahul. How are you going, Rahul?
Evening, Tom. Evening, Riz. And welcome to the audience for the second show of the year.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Hi, Riz. How are you?
Yeah, going well, Tom. Good to be here with everybody. I think we're going to have a good night with quite a few things to talk about. It's this space never stops.
That's right. 2024 is going to be a fantastic year. I can feel it already in my bones. So, yeah, it's going to be good. And, of course, how good was it last week having Elliot Richards on the show, gents, from Fully Charged? How good is he? So he's very down to earth. He's friendly, but also informative at the same time. So, yeah, we'll definitely try to get him back more often in 2024. Speaking of Fully Charged Live, well, let's start off with a call out to our sponsors first. Of course, we can't do the show without them. That is Carloop. Thank you, Riz, as always, empowering Australia's evolution with good data. Thank you also to Koba Car Insurance. Our members will know that I'm hosting a session with Koba on Saturday night. So if you remember, make sure you come along to it if you can. And also Warbucks. Thank you to our sponsors as well, who have always supported the show, especially in the last 12 months. So thank you to our three sponsors for the evening. And speaking of everything electric, we've got some passes to give away this evening. So if you would like to be in the running for one of 3 double passes, make sure you hashtag everything electric onto your comment tonight. Open to 1 per viewer. Can't win twice, and the 3 of us cannot win. Sorry, gents. But if you'd like a double pass to the show this weekend, make sure you hashtag everything electric and we'll draw those tickets at the end of the show. And speaking of everything electric as well, we've got a nice coupon code too. Let me just try and find that. Where is it? It's somewhere. There is a very good coupon code in the works. I think it's FC Live. Here we go. Let's share this tab here. So we've got FC Live. No, this one. FC Live. If you want to get 50% off a pass for this weekend's show, that's probably the best offer I've seen actually so far. So use FC Live when you're purchasing your ticket for this weekend. That'll get you a nice half price discount there, which is pretty good. All right, let's move on with today's show. So let's say hello to some of our regular viewers. To start with, we've got Kangaroo Island. Hello there. Nice to see you. We've got Tassie EV. Hello there. Nice to see you as well. And also hello from Tassie Thalasan, some of our regular viewers. We've got Jim from Tassie. A lot of Tasmanians tonight, which is great to see. Peter from South Australia. Hello, Kevin as well. Hello, Mark from Melbourne. Gaffer, one of our members, hello. And Robin Jules, hello there. Nice to see you, Robin Jules. Hope you're enjoying your dolphin. And Scott, hello, Scott, one of our members as well. And we've got, Scott's picking up his Model 3 tomorrow. No, 15 slips. Okay, 2 weeks' time. Excellent. And we've got Simon H. from Tenterfield, hello as well. And Jez, nice to see you, Jez. Hello there. And, J.O. says, hi, everyone. Joe here, first-time commenter, long-time viewer. Love your work, gang. Excellent. And he's also hashtagged everything electric. So he's in the running to win one of the 3 double passes for this evening for the show this weekend. Hello, Steve. Hello, John. And hello, Chris. Nice to see you. And, Jeremy's got a joke for us, guys. Why has my EV been even lower recently? Because when signing off last Wednesday, I forgot to say happy charging. Okay. I will make sure I say that every week. No worries. And Richard's doing the drive today. In time. Sorry, early night today for an early drive to Sydney via Canberra on the way to Fully Charged Live. Fantastic. Cool. Chris says, is that DJ Riz on the intro bass? Was that you, Riz?
Look, I had to get some lessons of DJ Havana Brown at the last BYD event that happened in Melbourne. So look, that's me. I've been caught. Thanks, Chris.
Actually, speaking of Hollywood Riz, got in touch with the team from Rolls-Royce. So they are saying, yes, we are good to go to get a Spectre to test drive, hopefully next month, March. So
Awesome.
keep reminding me, gents, and everyone in the audience. We'll get that Spectre out to you guys. I want to test drive it too. Oh, Charles isn't coming to the show, gents, unfortunately. So we'll miss you, Charles. Maybe next time. Okay, so we've got John also. Also, hi to everyone, and John and Fiona from Katoomba. Thanks very much, John. Cool. All right. And who else have we got to say hello to? Scott Martin. Hi. First time watching. Love your reviews. Thank you very much, Scott. And all right. So, Riz should get one of those shirts so he can be named High Viz Riz.
Hey.
Yeah, I think they're referring to my my golf.
That's right.
So
yeah. Love it, Rahul. Good call.
They don't miss right.
No, exactly. They're very, very observant, definitely. Oh, we've got Jace from Tech AU. Hey, Jace, nice to see you. Yes, he'll be there at the show. Fantastic. Looking forward to meeting you. All right. Well, gents, let's move on to our first story for the night. And, of course, we've got Riz's charts. He's back in 2024. Let's take it away, Riz. You've got Tesla growth. No, EV growth in 2024. And
that's it. So this is for New South Wales. And we can see it's increased quite a bit. So we started January last year with just over 22,000 electric cars in New South Wales, and now we're nearly at 50,000. So it's increasing pretty rapidly, and we're seeing that with the Tesla charts in New South Wales as well. So all of those incentives and things in the state are working, although, we don't have them anymore for passenger vehicles. But I've heard that there is stuff for fleets and light commercial vehicles potentially coming down the line in the state of New South Wales. So you just never know, as the state is shifting towards looking at other vehicles as well. And here in Victoria, we're hearing crickets. I still haven't even got my letter from Vic Roads to say, hey, you can claim some money back. So some people have already received their checks. So yeah, New South Wales leading the way when it comes to EV uptake.
Yeah, that's very true. Certainly in Sydney, I'm seeing them everywhere. You can't look without seeing either a Tesla or a Polestar or Volvo or something, or BYD Seal, seeing some of them around now. A lot of Atto 3s as well, as Gaffer says. They're all over the place, which is great. Now, Riz, if I'm not mistaken, looking at this chart, so these are cumulative figures, right? So January 2024, 49,000. So if we look at half of that, 23,000, that was only like January, February 2023. So are you saying that half of the EV fleet we're seeing in New South Wales was added in 2023?
Yeah, pretty much. It's skyrocketed in a big way, and we're hoping that it doubles again this year. But time will tell. Economic conditions, maybe more affordable models. I guess we'll find out.
We're seeing Tech AU got his check yesterday. That's fantastic, Jason, and it's good. Yeah, certainly some of your compatriots are getting their checks. So hopefully yours won't be too far away. Rahul, have you got yours yet?
Yeah, I think we received a letter which there was a QR code they had to fill in. I need to check with my partner whether we filled that out and then received the check or not. So we will find out. I think there wasn't a whole lot of money, but at least, hey, it's a moral victory that Chris, fought for all of us here in Victoria as well. And I must give a quick shout out to Tech AU as well. Jason did put in a FOI request with Vic Roads, and I think it took them longer than whatever the time frame was, which was 60 or 90 days or whatever. But they eventually did get back to him, and great that he followed through on that process to get that clarification on that EV tax refund as well.
Yep. Hey, it's may not be a lot of money, but look, it's the principle of the matter. I think it's definitely worth fighting for. So, yep. Yeah, hopefully they'll set a precedent for other states where, it's been proven now to be unconstitutional. So, yeah, can't do it anymore. Gene says, looking forward to EE on Saturday and the Koba session. Yes, thank you very much. So, again, make sure you join the draw for tonight's double pass, one of 3. Make sure you hashtag everything electric onto your comment, 1 per viewer. and that'll help you get in the draw to win one of 3 double passes for this weekend. Speaking of Victoria, Riz, you've also got some stats for Victoria this week as well. Take us through this.
Yeah, so this is sort of a bit of a comparison of what's going on in Victoria for the Tesla uptake. And we've seen previously in New South Wales, it's doubled in 2023. Here we're getting close, but we're not at the same level. New South Wales nearly at 30,000 Tesla vehicles out of that 50,000 that we just touched on. And here we're sort of, still hovering around 23, 24,000 vehicles by the end of December. And January, as we've sort of seen, there haven't been a lot of sales due to the Tesla Model 3 Highland, I guess, delivery stop due to that tether issue, as well as that ship that got turned around. So next couple of months are going to be big, but Victoria's not doing too bad, although, we could be doing a lot better if we had consistent policies.
Now, I want to ask a question. So, when was the Victorian policy stopped? Was it just before the end of financial year in 2023? Yeah, the incentives? Yeah. Okay. So, can we see any pattern forming with incentives stopping, or is it too early to tell at this stage?
It probably is too early, because even at that time, I think we're starting to get sort of the estimated delivery times were around 2 to 3 months, around June period, which meant that people could have claimed that, I guess, the rebate if they placed an order prior to June 30th or 31st, whatever it was. So yeah, no real trends, but you can sort of see October, November, December are quite close to each other, and not much has changed. So next couple of months, I think we'll start to form a bit of an understanding of what's really happening. But yeah, I mean, we're sort of 6 odd thousand vehicles behind New South Wales. Usually that gap should really be 2 to 3,000 if we're comparing the right things. So this is the overall EV uptake, but even the Tesla uptake is nearly 30,000 vehicles in New South Wales. So I think, a lot more work to be done. And the last time I checked the Victorian figures, it was around 44,000 electric vehicles in the state, compared to New South Wales sort of hitting nearly 50,000.
Yeah, look, Victoria's no slouch. It's still pretty good numbers, and a lot of the fleet was added, as you see in 2023, like 10,000 odd. So yeah. What's interesting too is that since the incentives have stopped in both states, both Victoria and New South Wales, I'm starting to see some ads for some price slashes. For example, I think BYD Atto 3 price has been slashed. I'm seeing them on bus posters now too. So entering mainstream advertising. And I think recently the Aura had a price drop, I think, and also what was it? Not MG. No, it was the Aura. Aura became the cheapest EV to buy in Australia.
Yeah, Aura did, and I think MG increased the price by about $1,000 on their base model. So the ZSEV, the 51 kilowatt hour, was, I think, close to 40,000 plus on roads. One thing that's interesting though is that although the sales have dipped in the month of January, they haven't dipped as much as, I guess, what we've seen across the ditch in New Zealand, where they've gone from, nearly 40% of all sales in December were battery electric vehicles, down to 3% in January, because they've had their equivalent of their rebate, the clean car discount, finished up at the end of December. So they've seen literally the best-selling car was actually a Tesla killer, the BYD Seal, selling 31 vehicles in the country. So they've seen a significant drop in their electric vehicle sales off the back of that. So we haven't seen that happen, maybe because it's not just one incentive that rules all states and territories, but there is the FBT and other sort of leasing arrangements that do cover the whole country. So yeah, New Zealand would be an interesting market to see if it stabilizes and gets back up, or we may be catching up in a quick way in the coming months.
Isn't that interesting? Because I think
Sorry, Tom.
no, I was just quickly going to say because they had quite a big incentive, wasn't it? Like up to $8,000 in New Zealand.
Yeah, it was 8,000, and then I think they lowered it to 7,000 for vehicles that were under 79 or under $80,000. 80,000 New Zealand dollars was sort of the cap. So a lot of the manufacturers, when they introduced vehicles, they kept them under 80,000. And there were some real funny things, like, for example, the LDV ET60 Ute was under 80,000 New Zealand dollars, and here it starts at like 92,000 plus on roads. So yeah, they had the policy right, and a lot of things were working. They've had a change in government as well. The new government had intentions of getting rid of the rebate, but are planning to invest money into charging infrastructure. 10,000 charges by 2030. I mean, when government set those type of targets, they generally don't really achieve much in the short term. So hopefully, if they're not getting the incentive to buy the vehicles, then people should have, good access to charging infrastructure across the country.
Yeah, that's right. Rahul, I'll get to you in 1 second. I just want to thank Jez for gifting some memberships tonight. Thank you, Jez, and also Sensei as well. Much appreciated, guys. Very much so. And just quickly, I'll just answer a few questions before I get to Rahul. So Richard says, yep, check received from Vic Roads today. Fantastic. And some sort of transfer instrument used for about 2,300 years. Okay, interesting. And Scott says, I'm one of the January 2024 EV uptake, collecting my Polestar 2. Fantastic. Congratulations. And Sensei, yes, all 3 viewers claim their double passes to everything electric for this weekend for last week's show. And we've got 3 more to give away this weekend for this weekend's show, of course, as well. And yeah, Max, we hopefully will see some manufacturers drop their prices too as well. And Gabriel says, thanks for the Innovator Lease referral last year. No problem, Gabriel. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And yeah, Tassie EV1 also says, yep, sales dived in New Zealand, as Riz was saying, so we'll need to see some discounts from manufacturers too. Correct. Rahul, please, before we interrupted you earlier, please go ahead.
No, thanks, Tom, and thanks, Riz. I just wanted to piggyback off what you guys were just referring to and what Tassie EV just referred to as well. Yes, the New Zealand incentives have come off, and I think our EV market tends to replicate what's already happened ahead, because we're obviously a couple of years behind. So yeah, the New Zealand EV sales have dropped off, but they could potentially just come back up as well. This could just be a reaction from the EV buying public. But the reaction is also on the other side from the EV manufacturers who are now looking at dropping prices as well. Let's not forget that Tesla in the US has dramatically undercut their prices. That's on the back of, I think, only the Tesla Model 3 and the Y, which are made in the US, qualifying for the 7,500 EV rebate at the point of sale as well. And same thing with the UK market as well, with the influx of secondhand EV cars in the market. You're seeing pricing of new cars trying to compete, not selling as much, but the pricing of secondhand EV cars now coming to parity with your ICE hybrid and PHEV cars as well. So yeah, I think it may be a fluctuation for a couple of months. We may see that here in Australia as well, but I think we will also see some aggressive price cutting, knowing that BYD, GWM, and a couple of other manufacturers are going to come in with newer models this year as well.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, hopefully, the actuaries at at the government level have projected their incentives well enough that we didn't have too much of an incentive. Like 5,000 in New South Wales was enough just to spur the sales, but not enough to cause such a big dip as it did in New Zealand. So yeah, interesting times ahead in 2024. Now this might actually, I wonder whether this will actually help increase the choice we have in Australia. So this week we had the Labor government in Australia outlining 3 options for fuel efficiency standards in Australia. I guess you can classify them as strong, okay, and weak. They're kind of, I guess, based on the US fuel efficiency standards, where okay is kind of on par with them, and of course better is better than them, and then worse is not as good as theirs. So Gents, did you have a chance to read about this week and your thoughts?
I had a quick look, and I think it's important step forward that we're going to be getting some sort of guidelines so manufacturers don't just bring any vehicles that they can't sell in other markets into our market. So it puts that sort of bit of a barrier up, which is what we need, or at least even the fact that there's an announcement now, and you should have seen the amount of like there's been 2 or 3 press releases from FCAI, which released the VFAX data at the end of every month that work with manufacturers and dealers as their members, or mainly manufacturers. And they're basically pushing back big time, saying, these are going too far. Australians are not going to have the choices of the vehicles that they want, because apparently every Australian dreams about driving a diesel Hilux or a Ranger or an Isuzu D-Max. So that's what they're saying, but at least this is really positive. Basically, none of the guys from the automotive companies or legacy automakers can really have anything to stand on, because this is happening and they've got to do something. It's not enough time for these manufacturers to change gears, because they usually take 3 to 4 years to bring new models into a market. But now with this sort of direction, we're going to see a whole lot more new, more efficient, hopefully electric models entering Australian market.
Rahul, thoughts?
Thanks, Tom and Riz. Look, my thinking is it's great to have the fuel emissions standard. It's probably a couple of years late, but it's better late than never. My only concern remains that at the moment, what the paper is suggesting is that the full zero emission standard won't apply up until 2050, knowing that most of the OECD nations, developed nations apart from Russia, are looking at targets at 2030, 2035. And most car manufacturers are also aiming for full battery electric vehicles by that time frame. When you do the math, we're still 15 years behind the rest of the world in terms of getting to that target. So, even though they have presented option A, option B, and option C, I still think that as individually, I would look at option C. We have to start strong so that we can catch up to the rest of the world exponentially. Otherwise, we're going to end up being a dumping ground for hybrid vehicles, which, though may be more fuel efficient than what's on the market currently, it'll still end up being a dumping ground. And obviously there's credits involved in that situation, and there's super credits as well. But I also believe that bigger axle vehicles are exempt from that at the moment. So we may just see a lot of that getting dumped here as well, because the rest of the world would have moved on from that and converted to electric 15 years before we do. And that just seems to me preposterous that we're so far behind. What are your thoughts, gents?
Yeah, no, well said, Roland. Riz. Yeah, I think option C has to be the way to go. We as you said, we're already quite far behind. B kind of puts us on par with the US, and A, I think it's just something for the car lobby group. I think that's what people are saying here in the chat as well. So yeah, I mean, we've got a month for them to I guess to provide consultation with different groups. Is that enough time for them to rebut and change things? Or I think option B is probably what the Labor government want to go with as a compromise between the two. Thoughts? It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Either way, the thing is the government has to do something now. They were elected on the back of climate change promises as one of the bigger parties having a proactive action towards it, and decarbonizing transport is a big part of something. And it's something that we can do now. It's not something that we're waiting on, 15, 20 years from now. It's something we can start and actually make some good progress on today. And if anyone is in doubt that this is, they think this is not real and the transport emissions don't exist, go to any of our major cities, drive through any of the longer tunnels with your windows down, and then you'll see that this stuff is real. And it's, something that we need to do. The decision makers need to see that this needs to change sooner rather than later. And a month's time may not be enough for, car manufacturers to go back to Japan or wherever else they're from to rethink which models they may want to bring. But there's clear deniers. Toyota just seems to come up with the newest theories, and they've apparently posted like a record profit. Their financial year finishes on the end of March, and I think this is going to be one of their most profitable financial years in history because of their hybrid sales and all of these other things that they're sort of part of it is the misinformation that's being spread out there. And they've been done for diesel engines this time, pretty much like a Dieselgate emission cheating, Daihatsu safety cheating. That's a Toyota-owned company. Something's got to change, but we've got to get much better than that. And it's good that the government set something in place, because if we don't do anything, they're not going to be in power at the next election either.
Yeah, not surprisingly, Australia and Russia are the only OECD countries without a fuel efficiency standard, which is not really something to be proud of, unfortunately. So hopefully something will change very shortly. We've got comments from the audience about this. So we've got, Billy Lid says the most popular car in Australia last year was a big gas guzzler. Ford Ranger, I think it was, wasn't it, Riz?
I think it was Hilux or the Ranger. They were
Hilux.
pretty close to each other.
Yep. SWS, I agree. Go hard early, easy to take the foot off, then put it on later. Yep. And Jez, another 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Mark says manufacturers will not manufacture dirty engines just to dump them in a small market. With most of the world having set a benchmark, we will get what they get regardless of our emission standards. Okay, that's an interesting take on that. Cool. Okay, back on everything electric this weekend. Scott is looking forward to test driving a Seal. Yeah, definitely one worth test driving. There's a few manufacturers actually, as Elias said, this weekend to look forward to, much more than last year. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on to our next story, and that is, of course, let's talk about Polestar. Polestar is another problem we need to talk about. So I think this week the news was that parent company Volvo has actually withdrawn funding for Polestar. We might cross to Koshi Rahul to discuss this. Thoughts on this, Rahul? What's going on, Polestar?
Yeah, I think it was always a very confusing relationship, having a parent company, Geely, and then having Volvo. And then having Polestar, which was meant to be their EV arm, but then morphed into being its own brand. And then Volvo also having some stake in Polestar, but then also building their own brand of EVs as well. I think that Polestar may have gone niche in a emerging niche market to begin with, which means they probably out-niched themselves to the consumers, unfortunately. Great product, amazing ability to sort of walk back everything that they've put into the car in terms of sustainability, emissions created in manufacturing the car. But the sales just never, reflected the sustainable aspect of the business that Polestar were championing. Absolutely love the cars to bits, but I just feel, the finances of what Polestar is undergoing and Volvo pulling the funding now means that they may be one of the casualties of an evolving EV market.
Yeah, well said. I think from a consumer's point of view, like Rahul said, it's a great looking car. Well, they're all great looking cars, actually. They're built very well. They look fantastic. But it's a bit confusing for the average punter. Like, what is Polestar? Like, who is Polestar? It's not that well known that they can, afford to charge $140,000 for a Polestar 3. That's a lot of money for a relatively largely unknown brand. Like, sure, some might correlate Polestar with Volvo. Maybe that's where we'll end up, where Polestar is like Lexus is to Toyota or Genesis is to Hyundai. Something's got to give, because they can't keep spending on advertising and not getting the returns. Like, it was a huge drop last year. I don't know about you. Like, they need to sell cars and they need to do it fast.
History is that so Polestar was a racing team. Then Volvo partnered with them to develop their performance cars. So at one stage in the V8 supercars world, we had a Volvo Polestar, S60 Polestar running around Australia. So it was always the performance edition of Polestar, sort of like Mercedes and AMG. And then they spun it out as its own separate brand when I think Geely took a large stake in it. Even Volvo doesn't own all of Volvo Cars. Volvo Cars is a separate division to Volvo themselves. And all of these are sort of part of Geely Holdings in one way, shape, or form. And what Geely Holding wants to do is to build them into their own separate brands, so then they can list them on the stock exchange, make lots of money, and eventually sell them. And sometimes those plans don't work accordingly. And a bit of, not sort of rubbing salt on the wound, but then Hertz has come out and said, hey, we will not be purchasing as many Polestars as we originally said. This is on the back of them sort of selling off some of their Tesla fleet as well. So yeah, days are looking a little bit limited, and I think Polestar has not been able to release the Polestar 4 or the 3 fast enough in a market that generally wants SUVs. And the Polestar 2 has traditionally, it is a sedan, which the market is not going to pay a premium for, but market will pay a premium for a nice looking electric SUV. But it's a bit too late.
I mean, again, back to the consumer point of view, like it's confusing because people know Volvo. And before Volvo committed to 100% electric in Australia by 2025 or whatever, we had Polestar. And I would say to people, yeah, like if you want an electric Volvo, go to Polestar. But now Volvo is doing its own thing, and Volvo is a very well-known brand. So, it's like, well, I don't know, what do you go for? Because Volvo is quite good value. They've got very similar design language, both Polestar and Volvo. Yeah, it's very interesting times ahead, I think, for Polestar. Anyway, good to watch from our point of view anyway. Mark says, can't justify paying the much higher price for a Polestar over a Tesla. Look, I think they're different cars. Polestar are very nice vehicles in their own right, but yeah, I mean, they are a lot of money, unfortunately. And yeah, Max also agrees, overpriced compared to its competitors in Tesla, etc. I think we need to compare Polestar with Volvo, I would say, rather than Tesla.
I think Polestar themselves also compare themselves to a slightly more premium brand.
Yes.
That's the way they position themselves. Having said that, it's they are really nice cars. It's based on a nice platform, the Polestar 2, and same with the Volvo XC40 and C40. They're all nice cars, but I guess part of that earlier point, people want SUVs. Volvos have got SUVs that the Polestar is based on. And Geely themselves, with the new cars that they're bringing out with Zeekr and some of the other brands, they're going to Europe. They're going to sell well because they're SUVs. And having said that, regardless of how much money you spend on advertising, if it's a product that people can't afford, and it's not mainstream and it's not aspirational, as let's say Tesla might be, at a cheaper price. When people think of electric cars, people think of Tesla. And it's not a comparison on the quality or the type of vehicles that both of these cars are. It's more that's just the way the market perceives it. And market is easier for people to take a punt on and the first electric car for it to be Tesla because there's so many of them. And I've got a friend that owns one and all the rest of it that people can sort of get that tips and feedback on, than to buy something from a brand that sells. I think last year they sold just over 2,000 vehicles in Australia. Polestar did.
Still more than China, apparently, according to Elliot.
Oh, yeah.
That was concerning. Yeah, EH says Polestar 4 was the same price as the Porsche Macan Electric. That's concerning, honestly. Like, I know which car I'd rather have between Polestar and Porsche if they're the same price. I'm just saying. And Simon says, love the Polestar 4, but the price is way up there compared to EV6. Yeah. And look, that Tassie EV makes a good point. The sustainability model is fantastic. They really drum on about it, which is great. Everything has got blockchain and traced, and everything, all their trace elements are accounted for, which is good, and that's to be commended. Yeah, but the money is there. We've got 6-figure EV9 driving around. Taycans are out there. So yeah, people will buy them. There is a market, but Polestar's not taking their share, unfortunately. Let's take some more questions. Jordan says, will you do a BYD video regarding the servicing? Well, yes, I'm going to be living that dream, the servicing dream for an EV. So stay tuned. I will tell you what happens in a couple of months, no, in a month's time. Yeah, I've got a 3-month baby check coming up. Peter Cook says, does the Polestar 2 have that curved edge on the transmission tunnel that cuts into the driver's left leg? Yes, it does. It's got that very bulky center console because it's got a shared platform with the Volvo XC40 ICE. So, yeah. Thank you, Sensei. Another gift membership. Thank you. And Richard says, always found the interior of the Polestar 2 to be super tight inside for a vehicle of such a size. Yeah, it does feel very cozy, if that's a polite word to use. Some people use claustrophobic. Just saying. Okay, gents, let's, at the halfway point, let's say thank you to our sponsors as always, and that is Carloop. Thank you, Riz, empowering Australia's EV evolution with good data. Koba Car Insurance, looking to do an EV product this year, so stay tuned for that one. And Warbox Wall Chargers, we've got one behind us here, so check them out. Coupon codes in the video description below. Thank you. All right, let's move on to another story here from this account. So we've got, I think, Rahul, you helped me with this one. So 90% of EV drivers will never go back to petrol or diesel, according to the EVA England account. And charging in the UK is getting better all the time. Sounds good, I think, in the UK.
Yeah. I think this is more about giving people access to more charging points, like your destination charges, your wall charges as well. And I think we're facing the same issues here as well. Obviously, I'm one of those people that parks on the street. Would love my council to come to the party and give access to that. And I think that would unlock a lot of EV sales for people in the UK as well, if they had access to charging, outside of their home by running a cable, being able to dig a channel, which is council approved. I think it's a couple of trials run by Port Phillip Council and then Yarra Council as well, and a couple of UK councils as well. That would definitely help as well. But in saying that, the UK's charging infrastructure, I think for 2024, which Elliot mentioned, and I believe the chairman of Osprey Charging mentioned as well, is that they're increasing that by at least 30, 40, 50% this year, which would be fantastic. Now, whether they're reliable, that's another question. As long as they're not using the brand that we have discussed in the past. But yeah, Kempower sounds like a great brand, which does do well in the UK. So hopefully that's what they're going with.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be heading to the UK mid-year, so I'm looking forward to checking out their infrastructure for sure. Yeah. Just back on the same account, they're saying that, or EVA England are saying they're pleased to announce pleased to see the UK's millionth battery electric vehicle announced today. That was a few days ago. So that's incredible, really. 1 million battery electric vehicles in the UK. What are we now, Riz? 100,000 plus? So
yeah, I think we're close to 150 now.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a bit of way to go, but I think we'll catch on with a lot of more affordable models entering the market, different types of vehicles. So hoping that we get up to nearly 300,000 by the end of 2024, but I might be far too optimistic.
To be fair, what's the population of the UK? 50 million, 50, 60 million. So, 3 times what we have, or twice what we have. So, yeah, they've got a semi-serious government when it comes to net zero deadlines and all those kind of things. So, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, we can turn that thing around, turn the ship around here as well. Let's move on to BYD news. So BYD releases images of its upcoming Yuan Up electric SUV. This looks good.
Yeah, so this is, I read the title, it reminds me of, I think it was the VW Up or Up E. It was a real tiny city car. So who knows whether this name would be used. It could be called the Atto Up, because here we've got the Yuan Plus in China is the Atto 3. So yeah, we just never know. But this is based on what appears to be the BYD Dolphin, like a jacked up version of the Dolphin. But it looks pretty good. If they think the BYD starting price was around, what was it, 38,890 for the Dolphin? If they can land this here for even early 40s, I think they will sell quite well. It's a reasonable looking car for an SUV. I think the dimensions are like only about 20 millimeters longer compared to a Dolphin or something like that. So I think it should be good. But it's being released in China probably next month, which means that it was probably if it is to arrive here, it's more than likely in the next. It's going to be a 2025 car in Australia.
Yeah, I can see the resemblance with the Dolphin now with the rear lights there, so that makes sense. Look, I think as much whether you love or hate SUVs, we do need more choice because we've got different types of SUVs and different sizes in the market, not just one or two. So, yeah, I think this will definitely help the revolution. Would this be the similar size to the like say the EX30 that we still haven't seen in Australia yet, the Volvo EX30?
Yeah, I think it would be. It would be similar size to the EX30, and there's a Zeekr equivalent as well. Can't remember which model in Europe that's already out there. So yeah, it's going to be smallish sort of SUV, and this is a good comparison to the EX30. Obviously, people considering a Volvo will have their vehicle in the next 2 to 3 months, and it's expected to be Volvo's bestseller, and maybe this is BYD's bestseller, even better than the Atto 3 globally.
Yeah, that's right. We've got someone saying Atto 3A. I think I saw Tassie EV saying Atto 3A, 3 Alpha. And Peter's saying the Yuan Up is already in dealerships in China. The interior looks pretty good. Yeah, if anything, if the seal and the Dolphin's anything to go by for sure. Cool. Let's stick with speaking of BYD and name changes. BYD Dolphin Mini on the way to international markets. Now we've been hoping for this seagull to come to Australia, so this might happen, Riz.
Well, it's looking quite interesting. So this video randomly popped up on their X account in the last 24 hours or so, and it's quite interesting to see that they've changed the name, and it's not uncommon for car companies to change names around the world depending on where they are. But yeah, they want to, I guess, continue on with the dolphin theme. So the Dolphin Mini. Why you would change a name and create a whole video and put it on social media unless you were planning on moving somewhere else with it under a new name. So it appears to be European city. It might as well be somewhere in China. I just don't know. But it's a 30-odd second video, and it showcases sort of what this car is about.
Gotta be somewhere in Europe. Oh no, it's actually China. Chinese writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So maybe you know how we've got Chinatown here in Melbourne and Sydney. Maybe that's Europe Town in China. I don't know. Could be anything. So with this car, if it does make it to international markets, I think Australia with the ANCAP rules, it might struggle because it's a lot of investment to get a car up to spec. So the Dolphin they sell here in Australia and Europe is different to the Dolphin they sell in China. There is a couple of more safety improvements and features in that car that allow it to do so well in the safety tests, 5-star ANCAP rating and the rest. So it would be much harder to comply this car to those 4 5-star rules. But in Europe, I guess there is smaller streets. And yeah, I think this car it's a great city car. I think we can have it if we had urban and city zones, like, sort of 10, 15 kilometer radiuses where these vehicles were allowed to operate in a good way. Even if it's for like go-gets or ride sharing or something like that, I think these are awesome cars. But, a lot needs to change in Australia for that to happen.
Well, we made the comparison to the Kia Picanto, which is a very small spicy. It's a small car as well, and you definitely see them around the denser areas of Sydney and Melbourne. And look, the population is getting denser. People are building more denser housing apartments. So yeah, this would be good for, as you said, ride sharing, deliveries, Amazon, Uber deliveries, those kind of things. And just a good little city car, really. So yeah, I think hopefully BYD will bring this down under. That'll be good. Seeing some funny suggestions for this to come to Australia. But BYD Carp, Stingray, flake with chips. Okay, nice, cool. Kangaroo Island has said, "Hey, I just made it to Bendigo in the Polestar this evening after a 770-kilometer drive. Wow, halfway to the Everything Electric show. Drive the rest of the way tomorrow. See you there. Fantastic. Looking forward to it." Speaking of, make sure you enter our Everything Electric giveaway. We've got 3 double passes to give away tonight, so make sure you just add a hashtag Everything Electric to your comment, 1 per viewer, 1 entry per viewer, and we'll draw them at the end of the show. All right, moving on, gents. Just sticking with BYD still. I won't show this video, but looks like BYD is trying to make inroads into, yes, the land of the rising sun, Japan. Try and kick off their EV revolution. Yeah, let's hope, hey. I mean, I didn't see that many EVs walking around Tokyo earlier this year, or late last year rather. So hopefully BYD can do what some people cannot over there.
Well, it's really interesting, Tom. This week, one of Mark Balkin, who often joins us and leaves a comment in the live stream, he shared an article with me on Japanese EV sales. Surprisingly, they sold more electric cars in Japan than we did in Australia last year.
What?
Seriously, they sold 88,000 electric vehicles.
Wow.
And Tesla's not in the top anything. So they've got the Nissan Sakura and I think the Mitsubishi EKX or something similar to that. Even Toyota sold like 2,000 odd electric cars. They didn't specify the models. So something is going on there. But I guess with BYD entering the market, and I think they have some really high ambitions in the Japanese market. So yeah, you just never know. It's a really, really bold move because, the car industry in Japan is like the car industry in Germany. They will do everything possible to ensure that no foreign brands get any sort of lead. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but I think BYD's got enough cash, quality for reasonably well-built quality products that I guess people that want electric vehicles would want them. And Nissan reckons they can't build enough Sakuras given the demand in the country. So the demand is definitely there, although their charging infrastructure is not overly great because there's been no real investment in it. So yeah, interesting times. But yeah, BYD could actually, really turn things around in Japan in 2024 and 2025.
Now, see, the Japanese are beautiful people. They're very service oriented, they're very polite, and the charging stations I did see in Tokyo walking around, there was always someone helping you charge your vehicle. Now I don't think that'll happen here, but it was nice. Someone got out of the car, someone with gloves on helped them charge the vehicle, looked after the vehicle for you. I mean, I don't know what the cost of that is, but it was nice to see. Yeah, again, I don't think that'll happen here, but it's a very Japanese thing, obviously. Now Richard is saying what I was going to say, that Japan does have 10 times the population we do. We can fit all of Australia into Tokyo alone. So you said 80,000, Riz. So it's a small percentage of the cars there.
Yes.
Cool. Now Graham asks, what is the situation with Tesla superchargers and compatibility with Seal and Atto 3? I think that's still a problem at the moment, as far as I know.
Yeah. So I guess public service announcement. The seal doesn't work properly at the Mittagong FreeWire NRMA charges as well at this stage, and I think the Atto has the same issue. Going back to the Tesla charging situation, last I heard was BYD is aware of the issue. They're trying to figure out whether it's going to be fixed via software update or whether it's going to be a hardware replacement. for existing cars and possibly a hardware solution in new cars that will be fixed at the factory.
Okay.
So that's what I've heard. They're investigating it still. It's going to become a bigger problem for them because now they're selling in Europe and they can't possibly be. But I've seen videos in Europe. I'm not sure if there were V2 superchargers or not, but they were charging a seal. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it appears to be a BYD specific hardware issue in their cars. So fingers crossed there is some update on this. Otherwise, it would be once the 2024 models start to come in, and if they're charging and the 2023 models and prior to that are not, then
I won't be happy.
Yeah, there needs to be a solution of some sort.
Yeah. While they're at it, they should upgrade it to 11 kilowatt three-phase charging as well, because they're currently only 7 kilowatts, and you get 6.3 at the car. So something's happening. Whereas in Europe it's 11 kilowatts. So I don't know why our cars are a bit slower. So yeah, I'll chase that up, Riz, too, as well. If we speak to some BYD people at the show. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's covered on warranty and it's a complimentary upgrade, because I won't be very happy if I had to pay for that upgrade. Not good enough.
Well, when they sold the cars, they never specifically said that, these were not compatible at certain charges. And I understand that Tesla has since opened their supercharger network. Having said that, I don't think it's a Tesla specific issue. I think some charges just, for whatever reason, whether it's communication, but if they're saying it's hardware, I don't know. Maybe some people that have access to, Chinese TikTok or something similar can have a look and see what users are doing, because even in China, in some cities, they've opened the Tesla supercharger network to non-Teslas. So surely this problem can be fixed. But yeah, we just nobody's certain of what the exact issue is from what I've heard.
That's not good. They got to fix it. Because it's pretty much the only manufacturer that you can't use those Tesla superchargers that are open to everyone. So they can't be left out in the cold like that. It's just not good enough. So we've got, Peter Cook saying Sakura means cherry blossom. Yes, they're very pretty in around April, and Japan's very busy at that time of year because of that. Sensei saying or asking, could the Sydney to Adelaide drive be done in a BYD seal? I mean, yeah, it can be done. Sure. Yeah, of course it can. It'd be easier with a Tesla supercharger network to help you, although I don't think all the chargers are open anyway on that route. It's fine. It can be done. Just got to plan your trip a little bit more. Of course, if you want to use a Tesla network, buy a Tesla. Seems easy. Yes, Steve says, yes, that's right. As I was saying, Europe's BYDs have different chargers at 11 kilowatts, which is a shame.
So that is interesting. So does that mean that that's the hardware change that they have, that the charging unit, onboard charging unit that they have is different, which means it can charge? Because when the Highland came out, there was comparisons between the Model 3 Highland and the BYD Seal with some of the more popular UK car journalists, and they did this little road test that I saw, and it was charging fine. So maybe that's an upgrade. But last time I've seen with the 2024 built or 2024 model Atto 3s, I think Darren in Singapore did a quick walk around one. There's quite a few changes, including Continental tires.
Okay.
But it doesn't appear like he didn't say anything about the charging. Maybe we can find out in some international markets what's going on that front, and maybe that's why they're charging there and not here.
Yeah, hopefully we're not a dumping ground for these older hardware guys. We'll have to get onto BYD for that. Simon says the EGMP, which is Hyundai, Kia, Genesis mismatch to V3 superchargers, seems to have been fixed. Good, although still limited to 97 kilowatts. Yeah, I mean, they can charge much faster than that, those cars. So that's a shame. Okay, so Charles is saying already have in reference to which one? It's CCS2. If a manufacturer doesn't implement it properly, it should be treated as a fault and they need to fix it. Yep. I agree. Yep. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next story. And Rahul, looks like there's a new color for Tesla. New silver and upgraded cameras to Model Y in China.
Ooh, looks gorgeous. Yeah, great.
I think Riz, this is your article too. So yeah, hardware to Model Ys in China and silver as well. Hopefully, we'll see this in Australia.
Yeah, I think there may be a photo further down
There you
of
go.
this. Oh yeah, that's the Quicksilver. That was in Berlin in Europe, but it's same sort of color in China. I guess the factory now can paint it in Shanghai with that Quicksilver color, which means it's more than likely to come. At the moment, there's some funny things going on. If you buy a Model Y in China, you not only get the hardware for, you get the interior LED RGB light. You get the fabric dash trim instead of the old wood that you used to get. So it's similar to the Model 3. Now you get upgraded cameras. So I think this time around, well, same with Highland, when they did that sort of swap over, they did the Chinese delivered cars or to be delivered cars first. So they're already doing that. They're already making incremental changes and swapping parts out and improving them to be like the Model 3 Highland. But in Australia at the moment, it doesn't look like any of those changes. So we may be one of the last countries, possibly out of Shanghai, to get the fully upgraded Model Y. We don't know, but yeah, at this stage, China has a lot more options, and yeah, that silver is quite unique. It's the same price as the what do they call it? The Ultra Red in China now.
Does this mean we won't see like a Juniper or Highland a full upgrade for the Y? It'll just be like those changes, as you said, better interior, better seats, better cameras, different color. And the stalks, I presume, are still there. So is that what they're going to go with, as opposed to a full half cosmetic refresh?
I think it's they will end up doing a full sort of cosmetic refresh outside as well, but it could just be a staged approach where they just do it in bits by bits. And this has been sort of going on since maybe December now, November or December, when they started to put the black hubcaps on, or the aero caps on the Model Ys. That's when they did the dash trim as well. Ambient lighting came in, and now the hardware 4 that they're promoting, as well as this Quicksilver paint. So yeah, it could be a bit of a slow, which from a Tesla point of view, it makes sense. You would rather do it this way, give some buyers something new along the way as you sort of swap over all your parts for whatever the new design is eventually going to look like. But there would need to be significant changes if that Project Juniper is actually real, and it incorporates the new lights that we have seen in some renders. It's likely to, but it's not certain that it actually will. If they upgrade everything else inside the car, then it may not need. But ideally, they want to redo the tail lights like the Model 3 and the headlights as well to give it that very distinct Tesla look.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the silver. The older Model X's, when they were around, when they weren't being sold here, they came in silver initially, and they look really good. So, yeah, wouldn't mind seeing the silver cars on Teslas moving forward. Yeah, the question is now, like, if that does come to Australia with the new interior but same shell on the outside, do you buy that with the stalks, or do you wait until the full refresh without the stalks? I guess it depends on whether you want stalks or not.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to this post by Nirav. Happy news for Australian EV drivers. RACV have committed to replacing unreliable first-generation tritium ultra-rapid charging stations at various locations in Victoria and New South Wales, mainly Victoria, with Chem-Power chargers. That's great to hear. Some of those chargers are getting a bit old. So, yeah, that's good. Some of these, along the Hume Freeway, of course, Banawatha, Euroa, really key charging sites. So that's good to see. Very good. And sticking with chargers, NRMA is saying the New South Wales government grants are now available for regional New South Wales, $10 million worth. So if you are a business in Regional New South Wales, yeah, stick your hand up and try and get some money from the government to install some chargers for your business. Because you know what? We will support you if you have EV chargers. It's been proven. EV tourism. And Harold Murphy, the Tennant Creek 3-ways NRMA dual 180 kilowatt DC charger is practically complete. However, unfortunately lacks the power transformer, which needs to be installed. So let's have a look at these. Are these trying to think of the brand? I've used them before.
I think, are they ABBs?
I think they
Charles,
are.
I know.
Yeah, they've got them in some of the Ampol sites too.
Yes.
I think they are ABBs.
Yeah.
Where's the diesel generator? No, just kidding.
It's at the back. There's a pump.
Yeah.
If you look in the middle, that looks like Shell servo.
Oh, where's that?
In the last photo.
Last
in
photo?
the middle there, in between the two chargers. Oh, sorry. I mean the first photo with the chargers. In between the two chargers. Back one. In between the two chargers.
Yeah. Where's that?
Behind it. Oh,
This one?
No. That very first shot.
Behind it. Oh, back here?
Yeah, back there. You can see there's a yellow pump in the back.
Oh, these ones. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right. It's all fake. Lies. Yeah, no, it's good. On a serious note, it's good to have more chargers out in rural areas and regional areas, definitely.
Especially where this is. This has got to be one of the most remote parts of Australia.
Mm.
Correct. Yeah, it looks like there's some facilities too. So, have a little break in there. It's a shame they're not covered. That's the only thing. But, not asking too much. Security cameras. Yeah, make it safer. Cool. And I think we talked about Osprey earlier, gents. So, installing 200 plus rapid and ultra rapid charge points in the UK in just 100 days. That's phenomenal. And I love the design too. Speaking of covered, yeah. So they're covered and well lit. Looks good. Chem power. Fantastic.
Seeing a lot more models of EV cars there as well. So hopefully that might change coming in 24, 25 for Australia as well. I think the big thing, and somebody pointed out in the comments as well, I didn't catch that name, but the pricing per kilowatt in the UK is probably the biggest barrier now, unfortunately, with the pricing of charging going up.
Mm. I've noticed too that the price of petrol in Sydney has gone up. It's like close to $2 for most places now. So that video comparing petrol and electric on a road trip may not be so valid anymore. I did it when petrol was a bit cheaper. Interesting. Okay, so this is a story that Nearef also wrote, but one of our viewers, actually, Kangaroo Island TV, Stan Gordon, wrote this article. This is the Kangaroo Island ferry that connects the mainland to Kangaroo Island. I think they're starting to measure battery temperatures in EVs that sit in these ferries. Not just EVs, I think battery hybrids, PHEVs. On what evidence, people? Let me ask you this. Why are we doing this?
Well, if you bring your electric scooters on there that you bought off Alibaba and you have no idea and you're using someone else's battery charger to charge them on the boat, that's completely acceptable. But if you bring a battery electric vehicle with proper battery management, thermal management system designed for the car, then we need to do a temperature check.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, we need to get more scientific evidence to back these decisions. I mean, that's just crazy, isn't it? Going to put more fear into people, really. We've only had how many fires in Australia? 3 or 4, and one of them wasn't even a EV fire. It was just a battery that's been sitting out in the sun and rain and damaged and all that. As you said, Riz, the e-mobility stuff, all the scooters and bikes, they're more concerning. The stuff that's not regulated, that's brought into the country. Charging apartments, causing fires. That's what we need to be worried about, really.
Yeah, I think SeaLink have just jumped the gun on this one. It was a recommendation by the Australian Maritime Authority, but not a rule as such. So yeah, just kind of feels like, hey, let's give into the FUD and put in these rules. But hey, you've got a big Toyota Land Cruiser, I think, sitting behind that EV car, and that's got a fuel tank in there. That's got oil in there. You're driving on the island, and I've driven on Kangaroo Island. On gravelly roads, unpaved roads, you could easily rupture something there, and you've got this, fuel tank sitting there in that state. Where are the rules for ICE vehicles? Where are the rules for hybrids or for large automotive vehicles like trucks? Just seems wrong that they've just targeted battery electric vehicles.
Yep. Let's take some comments here. So Tassie EV, should they be also measuring the engine temps of those diesel Range Rovers as well then? Yeah. And Chris says measuring temps is wise on ferries. Yeah. I mean, we should measure the temps of all cars, I suppose, Chris. If we're going to do that for EVs. Mark's got a question about the Cupra Born video. I mean, any updates there is on sales so far? Cupra Born?
I think last year was about 800 odd that they did sell. I think they must have a bit of stock now because I did see some sort of discounting starting to happen. It is a nice car. I think it's quite a nice car. Now there is there is another option, the MG4 X Power. It's dual motor, more power, quicker,
cheaper.
Cheaper, yes. But no, I think Cupra Born's still a good car. Just large battery, 80 odd kilowatt hours, 500 kilometers of range. Quite a fun car. I just wished it was more 50,000 and not 60,000. So yeah,
it does handle well. Having tested it. Now, Charles says on EV fires, Emma Sutcliffe was on the Fully Charged podcast recently, gave an amazing stat. There's been one EV fire on a boat ever. It was in 2011, a home-built EV. That's the thing. These cars have been tested, rigorously tested, even the ones from China, despite all the myths. So some other stuff that's not been tested, not EVs. So yeah, need to get real here. Gene says huge queues at a petrol station, $1.56 per litre for E10. Wait time for refueling would have been longer than EV, 10 to 80%. Stan says, had to go through it again today. Had a bit of a debate with a crew member about the myths of fires. Yeah. Keep fighting the good fight. Yes, and Sydney EV, I agree. According to emergency services, there's not been a single EV fire in Australia caused by charging. There you go. Kia EV9 is fantastic. Make sure you watch my video. And am I getting one? It's just too big for me. I just don't have that many people in my family. If I drove the in-laws around a bit more, maybe, but not at this stage. Some of the shopping centers are just very tight in Sydney.
Well, look, if it's a Spectre that we want to see the main man in, then it's
different.
It needs to... Speaking of big cars, just quickly, Dodge Rams, and they are selling more and more of them. And unfortunately, it takes those people that buy them about 10 goes to fit into a typical shopping center car park spot these days. So I had the pleasure of being blocked by one. So I thought, okay, I'll go into the, basically down the road and park further away from the shops. And I walked back and he was still trying to park into the spot. And then the funny part was he didn't realize in the time he was doing that, there was another car that had pulled up and parked next to it. And he'd already walked off the other guy. And when he was trying to get out of his Ram, he couldn't get out of his car. So he had to drive out and find another car park. They are everywhere, and it's becoming
embarrassing, isn't it?
We need to have a big car tax as well.
Oh,
Riz, you offered him a second car spot. You know what I mean? Like, you need two car spots to park that Dodge Ram. It's ridiculous. They're not designed for urban driving at all whatsoever. It's a big American pickup truck. just not designed for Australian market.
It's like watching Austin Powers with the little like electric cart, right?
Yeah.
See, yeah, our parking spots are very tight. Like in the US, they've actually got spots for those trucks, and like they're like sort of a spacing between the spaces, so you can actually have more tolerance when you park those things.
We do have them. They're called truck stops.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Actually, speaking of tax for big cars, I might share this one too. I think Rahul, you might have shared this one with me this week. Paris in France, voters just won a referendum, 55% to triple parking charges for SUVs. They really don't want them in the city, hey?
Yeah, great move. I think France, obviously, and Paris, sorry, I should say, obviously, so much traffic, so many cars. But yeah, you see what Europe does is they have smaller cars. So yeah, just banning SUVs or making sure that they're being charged more will obviously deter some of these cars going into the city, which just frees up traffic for bikes, e-bikes, scooters, public transport, people walking, community sort of promenades, which brings people together, cleaner emissions as well. So yeah, great move by Paris.
Indeed. Let's move on quickly to Rivian spotting. So MEVCO, mining electric vehicle company, testing Rivian in Australia, in WA, RT1. Good to see. And here's a video of it being tested. Good. I'm green. Do we want to see this in Australia? It's a big car.
Yeah, I'd love to open up a mining company so I can get one from MEVCO. That's where the But I mean, yeah, this leads me to believe, like, hey, if MEVCO can get this, and Rivian are looking at getting this for mining companies, I think this X account did go further into that they would need to put in a service center in Australia as well, which means that they would then probably look at getting a commercial option for people to buy Rivians for personal use in Australia as well. So if they do that, that'd be fantastic. I think definitely needs that second competition in that electric pickup truck ute market for trades in Australia.
For sure. All right, let's finish up. We've got Victoria. Largest bus operator opens the state's first electric bus depot to accommodate its largest fleet of zero emissions buses. It's good.
That's, I think, north of Melbourne, closer to where you are, Rahul. In I think this one's Heidelberg or Ivanhoe.
Okay, that's not too far for me. I should go check it out. Good to see a positive story in Victoria, and not just always negative. Now we've got the EV tax check back and this as well. Yeah, we're not doing too bad, Riz, in 2024.
Well, 14 dual fast charging stations. I think it's for a bus depot. That's a reasonable size, sort of. I wonder if they're 75 kilowatts or more. They look like PKM 150s with the lights up at the top. So some BP sites use them.
Yep.
So they may be 150 kilowatts. In public charging world, we had Tesla opened up 16 bay supercharger in Albury, and maybe 24 bays soon. So hopefully, we see more of the public chargers sites increasing, as well as some of the electrified fleet of buses being able to charge at large charging hubs across Victoria and many other states as well.
Yep, definitely encouraging signs. Well done, Victoria. And to finish up, best small EVs on the market today. So just quickly wrapping up with these. So we've got, what have we got? Renault Zoe, not on the market anymore, I think. Yeah, interesting. Zoe E-Tech, apparently. Want to look out for. Mitsubishi iMove Mini Cab. Again, these are pretty old on these cars. Nissan Sakura, of course. Good car company bringing it in to Australia. So spot those around for us, everyone. Tag us. Fiat 500e, which I tested. Wouldn't mind testing the Abarth as well. A bit zippier. Cute little car. Mini electric, of course, running around. Had a bit of a price drop in late 2023. And there you go. There's a few to choose from. Cool. All right. Well, we better draw this prize. Last chance, everyone. Make sure you put a hashtag everything electric for a chance to win one of 3 double passes for the upcoming expo this weekend in Sydney Olympic Park. So let me put this on. Okay. We've got 27 entries so far, and we'll draw 3 prizes. If you win, congratulations, and make sure you email me before Friday or Saturday before then to get your tickets. I'll email them to you. So 27 entries. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds to hashtag everything electric. And then, yeah, we'll draw those prizes. Should be good, guys. I think it promises to be a bigger show, as Elliot Richards promised us last week on the show.
Yeah, and Riz, you're going as well?
Yeah, I will be Friday and Saturday. So if anyone's around, come and say hi. I'll be pretty easy to spot.
Yep, he'll be in the Spectre.
No, the i7, which is basically what the Spectre is based on. So
of course, right. My apologies. Yeah, he'll be in the gold jacket as well, Riz. And if you don't win tonight, that's okay, because we've got a huge discount, 50% off using FC Live coupon code. That's thanks to Everything Electric. So if you are thinking of coming, just take note of that coupon code FC Live. Thanks to Nirav. Thanks very much for posting that. So that'd be a very, very good discount. It's almost free, half price, almost free. Okay, so I think we might close the competition there, and let's draw our first double pass. Let's do this. Need a drum roll sound effect. Maria Milan. Congratulations, Maria. You are winner number 1 for tonight. We've got 3 to give away, so make sure you email me, tom@ludicrousfeed.com, to claim your double pass. Congratulations. All right, that's first prize. And let's draw it again.
Tom, while you're drawing that, you're doing a couple of sessions. Nash will be there as well. Elliot will be there as well. So, yeah, EV royalty.
Hey.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Ray Johnson. Good on you, Ray. Well done. Email me, of course. I'll give you your double pass. Congratulations. Ray's one of our members. Yes, that's right, Rahul. I'll be there doing 3 panels. Going to be a busy day for me, but I don't mind. Love chatting EVs, of course. And I'll try to do a walk around as well, so capture some video for you guys and girls who can't make it. And of course, for members only, we've got a special event in the evening as well. A special panel that I'll be hosting. So it should be good. Well done, Ray. And we'll do one more draw for the last and third double pass for fully charged lives, everything electric in Sydney. Let's do this. John, congratulations. Well done. I don't think anybody's won from last week, I don't think. So congratulations, John. Make sure you drop me an email tonight or tomorrow before the weekend for your double pass for this weekend's Everything Electric. And thank you, everyone, for entering. It's been great. Hopefully we'll see you at the show this weekend. Riz and myself. Should be good. All right, well, let's wrap up the show for tonight. It's been great, as always, gentlemen, to see you both, and also all our live viewers. We had, I think, 211 viewers at one stage, I think I saw. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching tonight. And if you're watching on replay, thank you as well. Thank you, Rahul. It's been great having you.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Riz. And thank you for everyone who tunes in every Wednesday for us. And I think just so people know, we this year collectively decided that we would be covering more EV topics in general rather than just being Tesla-centric, which I think we found last year we were focusing a lot on. There's a lot of EV happenings in Australia, including charging, including infrastructure as well, more manufacturers coming in as well, the new fuel efficiency standards coming in as well. So there's loads to talk about. So yeah, we appreciate the support. We'll see you again next Wednesday. But in the meantime, have a great time at Everything Electric, everyone that's going.
Thanks, Rahul. Well said, yes. And also should also say that we are focusing our efforts on Wednesdays from now on. We're temporarily suspending Saturday for now, due to busy personal commitments, but we'll see how we go later on this year. But yeah, Wednesday is like the go-to from now on. And yes, definitely more inclusive of all EV brands and all EV news, which there's enough to talk about, trust me, as you found out tonight and last night too. Riz, so nice to see you. Thank you so much for your time as always.
Likewise, Tom and Rahul. It's been good. We've learned a lot, shared a lot, and I think things are moving in the right direction. So everyone keep putting up the hard fight and talk to everyone and tell everyone about, all the benefits that we all get to enjoy. And for anyone that pops into everything electric over the next, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, come and say hi. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting show. I'm sure everyone will be looking forward to your video, Tom, of the walk around and what actually went down. And it can only get better from here.
Yep, absolutely.
Riz,
yep.
Riz, they might need to get past your bodyguards, but yeah, you just have to let them know that Riz from the EV show by Ludicrous Feed, and they will let you through to say hello to the Hollywood Riz.
Look, and anything's possible. I will tell the Big Shack to, just tone it down a bit for Ludicrous Feed, the EV show audience. But if you really want to get past him, just buy him a pack of chicken wings, and we'll be sorted.
Everyone loves chicken wings,
especially
Korean chicken wings. Oh, yum. All right, gents. Nice to see you both. Nice to see everyone. Yeah, have a great time at Fully Charged Lives, everything electric in Sydney. Otherwise, we'll see you next Wednesday as always. And I shall say my sign off, which is happy charging. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye now.